let's see how PAP and CHAP can be configured with point-to-point protocol. Let's consider this topology. Here we have got 2 LANs, 3 serial networks, and 1 more network which contains the web server. So the first thing that we are going to do is to configure IP addresses for all the devices, and then next we will configure the AGRP routing for all the routers. So for configuring IP address, we go to PC, desktop tab, and then IP configuration. Here we give the IP address and mask and the default gateway. So similarly, the configuration is done for laptop and web server also. For router, we click on the router and then we give the command enable to go to privilege execution mode, and then from there we can give the command configure terminal to go to global configuration mode. So from the global configuration mode, we give the rest of the commands. So let's see the output of show ending configuration so that the already configured details will be displayed. So here we see that for the interface FE00 IP address has been given like this. After going to the interface, we give IP address and then the IP address for the interface and then the subnet mask of the network. So similarly, all the required interfaces of the routers are configured with the IP addresses. So next we give the EAGRP configuration. So we see router, EAGRP, and then the autonomous system number. So after this, we give the command network for each of the directly connected networks. So for example, for this router, we have got network 192.168.10.0. So the network address has been given over here, and then next again network 10.1.1.0, the network address, and then the wildcard mask 0003, which is optional. So similarly, AGRP is configured for each of these routers. So we have completed the basic configuration. So now let's configure PAP and CHAP. We are going to configure PAP between R1 and R3 and also between R2 and R3. We are going to configure CHAP between R3 and ISP. So PAP is password authentication protocol. It is not that secure since it sends password in plain text format, but still it challenge handshake authentication protocol. It is more secure than PAP since it sends the password in encrypted format. So let's see how the configuration can be done. The first thing that is supposed to be done for both PAP and CHAP is to enable the point-to-point protocol in each of the interfaces where we are going to use PAP and CHAP. So for that, we are going to consider the interface that we are going to use first. Since we are going to configure between these two routers, and then between these two routers, each of the interfaces present in these things should be configured with the required commands. So the first thing is, after going to the router, from the global configuration mode, we go into the interface where we need to configure. So we go to interface serial 30. So after this, we give the command encapsulation PPP. So this is used to enable point-to-point protocol in this interface. So similarly, for each of the interfaces that we have considered, we need to give the command encapsulation PPP. So after this command is given, the next thing that you are supposed to do is to configure the username and password for each of the routers so that authentication can be done properly. So we click on the router, and then from the global configuration mode, again we need to give the command username and the username that is expected. After that, we need to give password or secret and the password that is expected. So for example, let's see this line which was configured already. For this router R1, it says username, I expect the username R3, and then password or secret can be given over here, and then the password that I expect is something that is given after this keyword. So here we need to give some password that we need for configuration. So here it was actually given as username, R3, secret, and class. Class was the password that was chosen, but since we have given the keyword secret, it's been stored in encrypted format. If we had given password over here, it would have displayed the keyword class, which was the password class which was given. So the format is username and then the required username, and here we can give password or secret, and after this immediately we can give the password that we are going to configure the router with. So similarly, each and every one of these routers are configured with usernames and passwords. So the next configuration command that we are going to give is the specific command for PAP, the specific command for CHAP. So for that, we again go into the router, and then we go into the particular interface where we are going to configure CHAP or PAP. So here let's consider PAP between R1 and R3. For this, we first go to this interface SC30. So there we can see that we have configured the command PPP authentication PAP. So this command is used to enable PAP. So we give the command PPP authentication PAP, and after this we give the command PPP PAP, the send username. These are keywords, and this is the username that is expected by R3. So since we have configured the username R1 in R3, we are giving this username, and then we say password, and then immediately we can give the password which the router R3 expects. So we had given the configuration so that R3 expects the username R1 and then the password Cisco. So from here, when we try to authenticate to R3, we give the same username and the password which was expected by R3. So similarly, we need to configure this interface with the PAP configuration and with the username and password that R1 expected. Let's consider and let's check this example also. Let's go to enable, so that we go to privilege execution mode, and then we give the command show running configuration so that all the configurations that are already done are displayed. So from here, let's go to the interface serial 30 so that we can see the configuration there. So here interface serial 30 is there. So after this, we have given the command PPP authentication PAP to enable PAP. So after that, we have given the command PPP PAP, and then the send username keyword, and then the username that was set on this router. So R1 expects the username R3, and it also expects the password class. So that is what we saw during the username password configuration. So here from R3, we need to give the command PPP PAP. From R3's serial 30 interface, we give the command PPP PAP send username, and then the username R3 and password, keyword password, and immediately we can give the password class. So similarly, this link can also be configured with PAP. So the username password that is expected by R2 is supposed to be given in R3's SC20 interface PAP configuration, and the username and password that is expected here is supposed to be given here in R2 during its PAP configuration. So this PAP configuration has been done successfully, and then let's see how CHAP configuration has been done. So for CHAP, the first two steps are the same. Encapsulation PPP has to be given in these two interfaces, and again username and password has to be given for both of these routers so that they can authenticate. The third step is different for CHAP. So the third step is that we again go to the interface where CHAP has to be configured. For example, here it is serial 60. So we go to that particular interface, and then we give PPP authentication CHAP. So this is the only line that is required for specific CHAP configuration. So we give PPP authentication and then CHAP. So similarly, even for this router, we go if we go to privilege execution mode, and then if we give show running configuration, we can see that in interface SC20, the command PPP authentication CHAP has been given. So CHAP configuration is also over. Now if the usernames and passwords are configured properly, we should be able to ping from each of these end devices to one another. So let's check the same. For example, let's try to ping from PC to the web server first. So the IP address, let's check the IP address, and then let's click on the PC, and then let's go to command prompt, and from here we can get the command ping 209.165.200.2, which is the IP address for this web server. So we see that we are able to get the reply from the web server. Since it is a web server, we can also check from the web browser whether we are able to connect to it. So it is 209.165.200.2. So we see that we are able to connect. So similarly, if we check the same from laptop, we should be able to ping the web server. Also, we should be able to connect to it through the browser. So let's first try to ping it. Ping 209.165.200.2. So we are again getting the reply. So we are able to connect to the web server via ICMP. So let's check from the browser 209.165.200.2. Again we are able to connect to the web server from the laptop. So let's also check the connectivity between PC and laptop. So if we click on the PC, let's check the IP address of the laptop. So the IP address should be 192.168.30.10. So let's try to connect these two. Let's go to the command prompt and give the command ping 192.168.30.10. So again we are getting the reply. So PC and laptop are also able to connect between one another. We have got the reply. So PAP and CHAP configuration are successfully done and it's working properly. Let's also check a few troubleshooting commands so that we can ensure that our configuration is proper. So for example, we'll start from EAGRP that we have configured already. So let's go to the router, say R1. Let's give the command show IP route. So here we can see that it's able to get all the EAGRP routes that were configured in all these routers. So it's able to get all these updated routes. And similarly for every router we can check it will be the similar output where it will have directly connected ones as well as the EAGRP updated routes. So the next command that we will check is show IP protocols. So this will give the details about EAGRP that we have configured, similar to the one that we have seen before. So EAGRP, this autonomous system number, and various other details are displayed. So the next command that we will check is show interfaces. And then let's check, say this particular interface AC30. Since we have configured PAP on it, we can check that interface. So let's say show interfaces serial 30. So we see many details. We can see here that the encapsulation PPP has been enabled, and also that the LCP is open, and there are various other details that are displayed for this particular interface. Let's also check for this router R3. We can again go to the router R3 and we can say show IP route. So similar to the previous one, we see that directly connected ones are available, and we also have the EAGRP routes that are available. If we check the command show interfaces serial 60, we can see the details about this particular interface. So again we see that encapsulation point-to-point is enabled and then LCP is open. So various other details are also displayed. So let's check one more troubleshooting command, which is debug, then PPP, then let's check the command packet. So we can see the point-to-point packets that are being transferred continuously from one router to the other for so it's continuously being sent. So we see that if any problem occurs, we can debug it from the details that are displayed over here. We can disable it by giving the command no debug PPP packet, no debug PPP, and then we need to say packet. So if that is done, then we can see that PPP packet display debugging is off. So we can continue to do further configurations if required. So the same can be done for any of these routers which are configured with PAP or CHAP with PPP protocol. So we have successfully configured PAP and CHAP. Thank you.